I'm Jody Hinkle, and this is my story. For the past 9 years, I've been working to create learning experiences that share information, insight, and awareness about everything from sales techniques for Teleflora to safeguarding computer systems for SandRidge Energy, where for a little over 2 years I've been working as a technical trainer, helping employees understand technical systems and initiatives. Sounds fun, right? Like a dream come true. And so fascinating that the topic does not immediately cause people to glance at their cell phones and fall asleep immediately. Wrong. By adding visual design principles, story, personality, and some instructional design theory, I like to think that I've captured my audience's attention, allowing them to keep their eyes off of the latest cat meme for at least a couple of minutes. How did I get there? Well, in 1995, I married this gentleman. You can tell it's 1995 by our haircuts, and of course the giant sleeves on my dress. On our honeymoon, we went to Disney World. We were seriously cute back then, wearing matching clothes. And again, you can tell it's the 90s by my husband's awesome pants. At this point in my life, I was a few years out of graduate school, where I studied theater and film directing, and I was really trying to figure out who I wanted to be and what I wanted to do. You'll find out a little bit more about that journey in just a sec. But before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about what I'm calling the Epcot Epiphany. On our trip, we visited Epcot. We were tired and wanted to sip for a while, so we decided to go on what we thought would be a seriously boring ride about dinosaurs. It was called the World of Energy. Ironic, because it was sponsored by ExxonMobil, and 20-some years later, by coincidence, I would work at 2 oil and gas companies, helping to facilitate learning and share information about a wide variety of technical topics, including records management and IT. Super sexy stuff, right? So anyway, we went to rest, and what happened next really shaped the future of how I see learning content today. Now, I know that a subject like the Paleolithic age and how it eventually led to and helped the Earth make fossil fuels may sound fascinating to you. To me, it did not. I'd taken earth science and geology in school, and all they did for me was make me sleepy. It did not speak to me. But at Epcot, it was thrilling. The original pre-show featured an 8-minute live-action film presentation about the various forms of energy found in nature and traced the history of how mankind harnessed these different forms of energy for their use. When we entered the theater, we were seated in one of 6 sections. The seating area rotated 180 degrees to face 3 large movie screens, and we watched a 4-minute animated film depicting the beginning of life on Earth and the formation of fossil fuels. At the conclusion of the film, the seating area rotated once again to face a curtain, which then rose to reveal a primeval diorama. Leaving the diorama, we entered the Epcot Energy Information Center, where our seats assembled back into the original formation. We then watched a 12-minute live-action film on 3 giant wraparound screens that took an in-depth look at various current and future energy resources around the world. After it was over, I turned to my husband and I asked, why aren't classes taught like this? Why aren't teachers telling stories that inspire and entertain? And then I started working, real jobs, with things like employee orientations and systems training. Some were good, and some were downright boring. Most took place over several days and included videos about the workplace. Some were silly, some were boring, and some were just darn right awful. I think that's when I became fascinated with the idea of edutainment, as I like to call it, and that's what leads us here today. Because I think that the experience I had 20 plus years ago at Epcot was the future of corporate learning. Over time, my philosophy has expanded through exposure to sites like lynda.com and Khan Academy, and the development of my own training videos and e-learning modules. I aspire to create content that inspires learners like Epcot's World of Energy inspired me, and I hope that's what each of you will aspire to as well.